Hey wrestling fans, welcome back to WWE Express. What you're about to hear is a story about two of the most complex competitors in WWE today, and a moment that might change everything between them. If you haven't already, please subscribe to WWE Express right now because we break down the storylines that matter, the psychology behind every decision, and the human drama that makes wrestling unforgettable. Picture this. The Raw arena is chaos. Seth Rollins has just experienced something that shook him to his core, a vision so brutal, so personal, that it left him vulnerable in a way we rarely see from the visionary. The match is over, the crowd is roaring, but backstage, something is happening that nobody expected. Jon Moxley, a man known for intensity and aggression, is approaching Seth Rollins with something completely different in his eyes. Not anger. Not the fire of competition. Compassion. Understanding. The kind of moment that reminds us why professional wrestling is so much more than moves and matches. This is where the real story begins, and it's a story about two warriors who have fought through hell, who have questioned everything, who have stood at the edge of darkness and looked back. When Moxley reaches Seth backstage, the camera catches something that changes the narrative entirely. He doesn't come as a rival. He comes as someone who gets it. Someone who understands what it means to have your mind become your biggest enemy, to have visions and demons that feel more real than anything in the physical world. Think about Jon Moxley's journey. He's been to places mentally and emotionally that most people can't even comprehend. He's talked openly about battling his own mind, about overcoming darkness that lives inside his head. He's been broken down, built back up, and emerged as one of the most respected figures in professional wrestling precisely because he's lived through the kind of internal warfare that most of us only read about in stories. So when he sees Seth going through something similar, when he watches Seth's defenses crumble under the weight of something psychological rather than physical, Moxley recognizes the moment immediately. The message Moxley delivers isn't what the wrestling world expected. It's not a challenge or a taunt. It's a lifeline. It's acknowledgement. It's a man who has been down telling another man that you can come back from this, that the visions will fade, that the mind is powerful, but so is your will to survive, that darkness isn't permanent. This is character development at its highest level because Moxley isn't just standing there as a character on a television show. He's standing there as a man who understands pain on a level most people never will. What makes this moment so significant is what it says about the trajectory of both these wrestlers. Seth Rollins has built his entire identity on control, on precision, on being the visionary who sees what others cannot. But what happens when his vision turns against him? When the thing that makes him dangerous becomes the thing that breaks him? The internal struggle, the psychological warfare, it's far more devastating than any physical attack could ever be. It strips away the bravado and leaves the human underneath. And Moxley? He becomes the unlikely protector in this scenario. He's the one who has walked through the fire and lived to tell about it. He's the one who can look Seth in the eye and say, without needing words, I've been there. I know what this feels like. And here's what I want you to understand, you're going to make it through this too. That's not weakness. That's the strongest kind of connection two competitors can have. This moment between them backstage could reshape everything we've been watching. Suddenly, the rivalry between these two men becomes something much deeper. It's not just about who wins a match or who gets held up the championship. It's about two men who have stared into the abyss and come back, recognizing that abyss in each other and choosing compassion over conquest in that moment. The wrestling industry has evolved tremendously because performers like Seth and Moxley are willing to be honest about the psychological side of this business. They're willing to show vulnerability alongside their strength. They're willing to say that the mind is a battlefield and sometimes the most important victory is the one you have within yourself. When Moxley delivers that heartfelt message to Seth, he's not diminishing Seth's status as a competitor. He's elevating the entire conversation about what it means to be a wrestler in 2026. Going forward, the question becomes, how does this moment impact their in-ring dynamic? Do they become allies? Does this compassion manifest in unexpected ways when they step between the ropes? Or does Seth take it as weakness and use it against Moxley when the opportunity arises? These are the kinds of storytelling questions that separate basic wrestling narratives from the kind of deep, character-driven storytelling that makes people tune in week after week. What's particularly brilliant about this scenario is that it respects the intelligence of the audience. It assumes fans understand that professional wrestling contains real human emotion, real struggles, and real moments of connection. It's not trying to manipulate the audience into caring. It's simply showing two professionals recognizing humanity in each other at a crucial moment. This is the kind of story that reminds us why we fell in love with wrestling in the first place. It's not just about the spectacle, though we love the spectacle. It's about the characters, the journey, the moment where someone extends their hand instead of closing their fist. It's about understanding that the toughest warriors are often the ones who have fought the hardest battles within themselves. The beauty of what WWE Express focuses on is exactly this kind of analysis. We don't just watch wrestling, we understand it. We dive into the psychology, the character motivations, the long-term storytelling implications. And moments like Moxley showing compassion to Seth are the moments that remind us why professional wrestling storytelling matters. So if you're invested in understanding the deeper layers of WWE storylines, if you want to analyze character psychology and see where these narratives are heading, you need to subscribe to WWE Express right now. We break down every nuance, every subtle moment, every indication of where these stories are going. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to WWE Express because the real story of wrestling happens when you know how to look for it. Respects YouTube guidelines while celebrating wrestling storytelling.